So once again, good evening, everyone. It's wonderful being here again. After how long? We've been on vacation. So for those of you that have been joining the Training Transfer Effectiveness series, we started this last year, January, so January 2025. And every Thursday, we've been running the series on the Training Transfer Effectiveness. So if you want to follow up on what we've been doing since last year, just go to our YouTube channel. We'll drop the link in the message in the chat box. So go there and watch the videos. So many videos are there. And because of the conference, we had to go on a break. We had the very first conference last year. It's called the Training Transfer Effectiveness Conference. You can see it, iTech 2025. We had it last year and we had to go on break. So we are back. So we've resumed this year with our very first webinar, and it's going to be a webinar with panelists, with great executives. That's what we'll be having today. So let me just introduce this and we just continue. So again, welcome. So glad you are here. Really, so glad you are here. Please introduce yourselves. Let's get to know ourselves. Type in the chat box your name, your role, and the country you're joining in from. Then tell us if you're a first timer, just write first timer. If you're a first timer, just write first timer. So we're asking for 4 things: your name, your role. That if you work in an organization, your role. If you're an entrepreneur, just tell us the name of your business. So name, your role, or the name of your business, the country you're joining in from, and if you're a first timer, write first timer. So we'll wait for you to do that. So just type into the chat box. Yeah, we can see chats coming up. Yes, so who is the first person? So this is Nancy Barr from Ghana. She's the L&D, she's learning and development at Telecel Ghana, first timer. Yay! So where's our chicken? Let's welcome Mercy for joining. Mercy, thank you so much for joining. We are so glad to have you. That's how we welcome you. So we also have MFN Thomas. Thomas, tell us where you're joining in from. What's your role? We have Enoch Luyensi. Enoch is a GM Human Resources MTN Rwanda, first timer. Yay, Enoch, welcome. Thomas says it's the first timer. Tell us where you're joining in from, Thomas, and what's your role? We have Catherine from Kenya, HRO, first timer. Yay! We have Farhan Abjama, Human Resource Manager, Somalia, first timer. Yay! We have a lot of first timers. Welcome. We are so glad. So keep it coming. I will read it. So keep it coming. Let me introduce myself. Keep it coming. So this is me. This is my humble self. So my name is Sandra Ihenacho, aka the Oracle. I'm called the Oracle. I'm known as Africa's leading voice on training transfer effectiveness. So when it comes to training impact, return on investment on training, return on expectation for training, the person you should reach out to in Africa, I'm not just saying Nigeria because I'm based in Lagos, Nigeria. The person you should reach out to is Sandra Ihenacho, aka the Oracle. Yes. So I'm going to take that again. When it comes to training impact, return on investment on training, and return on expectation on training in Africa, the person you should reach out to is me, Sandra Ihenacho, aka the Oracle. So I'm known as Africa's leading voice on training transfer effectiveness. I'm the CEO of M. Bryan Consulting Limited, who is hosting the organization, hosting this webinar since last year. I'm a mother of 5 children, 3 boys and 2 girls. I'm a certified assessor with the Learning Performance Institute, which is in the UK. I'm also a transfer enabler for Africa with the Institute for Transfer Effectiveness in Switzerland. I'm Nigeria's first certified transfer designer. I'm a resource person with the Lagos Business School here in Lagos, Nigeria. I teach at the Lagos Business School. I teach on leadership. Then for the return, so you can see what I'm telling you, who you should reach out to. I'm giving you all my credentials, certifications according to the 3 phases of training. Pre-phase, pre-training, due training, post-training. Then Return on Investment Institute, I just completed last year. I just completed the certification. However, I've not been certified because I'm still doing my case study. So by the time I finish my case study and is assessed, then I become a certified return on investment professional. Right now, I've finished it. I'm waiting to get certified after my case study is assessed. I'm also a certified transformational coach, a certified team and group coach. I'm a certified Kirkpatrick professional, bronze level. I also did a silver level last year. I'm also waiting to finish my case study. I've not finished it. When I finish it, then I can put silver level. I'm also a teacher and trainer for the past 27 years. These are the certifications I want to do this year. Every year, I do new certification. So for this year, I'm thinking of going certified by Accelerated Learning by Tom Meyer in the US. It takes care of during part of training. Then the High Performance Learning Journeys by Professor Ruben Brinkerhoff. So when I say you're in safe hands and the person you should talk to is Sandra, I'm not mincing words what say. So that's just a little bit about myself. This is what myself and the executives you're going to be opportune to talk to and ask questions today. This is what we always say. For the past 6 months, they went through the mastermind. We'll get to that. We always say difficult roads leads to beautiful destinations. Yeah. Some people are just, one of the executives, Doris, she's in Ghana. Doris had to stay back in the office to be able to join this webinar. Doris, you say, thank you so much. She said, Sandra, if I start heading home, I will not join this webinar, so I will stay back. That's a sacrifice we make to add to the body of knowledge. Same thing with the executives that are here. So we are going straight into it. So I'm going to stop sharing and allow them to introduce themselves. So we are going straight into the webinar now. So Sandra, stop sharing. So difficult roads leads to beautiful destinations. Some of you are joining in from Kenya. Kenya is 2 hours ahead, so this should be like past 9 p.m. Those in Rwanda, this is past 8 p.m. Then those in Ghana, this is past 6 p.m. Those in Somalia, please, what's the time now? So please, can Amara, Benedicta, and Doris, if you don't mind, can you start your video on mute and let me welcome you all very well. So they are here. Please help me to make welcome to our executives. Please use the emojis and make them welcome. Please, please, please. You don't understand. These executives, they are wonderful people. They are wonderful. Please make them welcome. Please make them welcome. Yay! Thank you so much. So please introduce yourself. Let the people know you. I'm sure they are ready and waiting to know you. Let's start with Amara.
Thank you, Coach Sandra, the Oracle, for such an opportunity to be with your people. I call them your people because they've come to listen to you. They've come to hear from you. My name is Amara Chidema Ezedini, also called the Optimizer. I believe in people and purpose and performance with regards to the workplace. All right, so I'm called the Workforce Optimization Expert. And I'm very excited to be here and looking forward to the conversations we're going to have this evening. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Amara, the Optimizer. Thank you. And thank you for leaving your video on. Let them see your beautiful faces, please. Thank you so much. Let's go to Doris all the way from Ghana.
Thank you very much, Cassandra. And thank you for all our participants for being here. My name is Doris Maupemo Adutbo from Ghana. I'm the head of Performance Education and Training Department of the University of Health and Allied Sciences, one of the public universities in Ghana, wholly dedicated to training health professionals. I'm glad to be here and I look forward to the conversation. I'm also known as the learning catalyst. Learning is the means, but performance is the goal. Through learning, we want performance to improve in our various organizations. So thank you very much, and I welcome all of you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Learning Catalyst. You can see we have the Oracle, we have the Optimizer, now we have the Learning Catalyst. You are in for something this night, yeah? Okay, Benedicta, over to you, please.
Thank you very much, Cassandra. Good evening, everyone. Hello, Amara and Doris. Yes, we are all excited to be here. My name is Benedicta Wiggle. I'm the Learning and Development Manager in Lagos Business School in Lagos, Nigeria. I can just say that I have been transformed, and I'm looking forward to even more transformations. An SP, I would say I am now an SP, and I can say that confidently. We'll get there. You know what SP is if you don't know what yet. So I welcome everybody, and we'll definitely have a great time together. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, executives. Thank you, the Optimizer. Thank you, the SP. She will tell you what SP means very soon. And thank you, the Learning Catalyst. It's so good to have you, and everyone is so glad to have you here. And so we'll go straight into, please feel free to start typing in your questions. So we may not wait for question time. We may just bump in and ask the question, because we know you want to ask all the questions you want to ask. We talked about these are executives that are living the experience. Just like what the SP told you. She says she's transformed. They are living the experience. So those place you want to be, they are already there. You want to see impact in your training, they are there. You want to see ROI and ROE, they are there. So you learn from them tonight. So quickly, let's go straight into the very first question I have for them. Now, what was your training reality before Mastermind? So by the way, this wonderful executives went through Mastermind. Theirs was an 18 weeks program, over 6 months. That's why we kept using difficult roads leads to beautiful destinations. Sometimes Doris is on her way back from work. She's like, Cassandra, I've not gotten home. Because 7 p.m. our time was 6 p.m. her time. But she made those sacrifices. Same with the SP, same with the Optimizer. So let's start from here. So what was your training reality before Mastermind? So my question to you all is, before Mastermind, there was a way training showed up in your various organizations. I want you to think of one training you approved, requested, or delivered that looked fine on paper but didn't change much. So what I want you to do is walk us through what actually happened. I want you to describe that in reality, plainly and honestly. I will take that again. So before the Mastermind, there was a way training showed up in your various organizations. For the Optimizer, she's a trainer, so there was a way you trained for organizations. I want you to think of one training you approved or you requested or you delivered that looked fine on paper but didn't change much. Walk us through what actually happened. We want you to describe that reality plainly and honestly, because that's why you have all these people here. They want to hear what really happened, as in practically. They don't want to hear textbook or theory. Who wants to go first? Anyone can go first, please.
Okay, I'll start. I recall a hotel owner one day said to me, look, come and train my people on communication. I said, give me a date. Gave me a date, time, venue. How much? Settled. That day I came, I showed up, I did it. I got my money. Everybody was a winner. So I thought. That was what training was for me. All right. I'm going to leave it there because that's the question. That's what we're tackling. How was training for you before to you? That was how it was.
So what I hear you say, the Optimizer, is for you before the Mastermind, what training was for you was When clients reach out to you, you agree with them the venue, you agree with them the amount that they have to pay, and you show up and give them beautiful training. They are so glad. It's a win-win. You win, they win, and you go.
That's it. Nice slides. You can't beat my slides. Nice slides, nice ambience, nice acrobatics, training voice, nicely dressed, and that's it. I can't do the magic. Everybody's saying, oh, wow, we love you, we like you. But after the mastermind, of course, if you're asking me to talk about training after the mastermind, that may be another question.
Yes, we'll come to that.
That was training for me before mastermind.
Wow, thank you so much, the optimizer. Let's hear from who wants to go, Benedicta or Doris?
Okay, has made me laugh so much as usual. There hasn't been anything different for me too. Though I'm on the other side, I'm not. So I'm an L&D manager. So yes, so when they come and say, "Oh, come and train us on collaboration," then I go and look for Amara type people, and I say, "Come and train us on collaboration," and then they come with very fantastic activities that we run. We have fun, indoor, outdoor, and then everybody is very happy. And then we are saying, fill the evaluation form, There's only one thing we are looking out for, over 5. At least we must get 4.8, so that people are rating it, 5/5, 4/5. And if you are rating it 2/5 or 3, we're wondering what's wrong with you. I thought you had fun in this training. Why should you be rating this? So it was just like that. It was just like that, year in, year out. Happy, it was fantastic. And then sometimes, even sometimes you think about, that training was very good. And then you go, okay, what was your key takeaway? It was very nice training. The lady was, she delivered, and then I enjoyed the training. So that is how it has been. So let me stop here. But,
I can see the participants laughing. I'm sure they can relate to it. They are relating to it. So the same thing. So line managers come to meet you. So you're saying when line managers come to meet you and tell you that they want to send their people on maybe a leadership training, collaboration training, you just look for trainers, training companies, and straight away you send them on you do the training for them. This is correct? Okay,
yes.
Okay, thank you so much, Benedicta. So let's hear from the learning of from Doris.
Okay. All right. So as Amara and Benedicta said, it's the same issue. You receive a request from a school or directorate to come and train. As Amara said, okay, let's look at the calendar. Is there anything around this time? Can we do it this time? What's the venue? The food, where will we order the food from? We get a professor, because it's an academic institution. Let's get one professor who is knowledgeable in this field to come and train. He comes with all the theory, the slides, and do his thing. Some of them, the participants enjoy it. Like the professor delivered, the slides, everything is on point. But at the end of the day, everybody goes its way. Then we also chase them for evaluation, which never, most of the time, comes. You have to be chasing them, sending follow-up emails for them to evaluate the training session. So this is how it's not any different from what Amara and Benedicta shared. The food is the most important thing. If somebody didn't get food, you are in trouble.
The food.
You are in trouble. So we are looking out for the happy sheets, the satisfaction. How did he go? Say, oh, this man is knowledgeable. Hey, this director is very good. Take away. What did you take from it? Oh, it was a very nice training session. So this is how it's way, as Amara said, before the transformation. So when we get to where the transformation happened, we'll share that one too. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, executives. I'm sure you're listening and getting what the executives are saying. This is reality. They are not making up these things. So this is the reality of many organizations, and many organizations are still operating. So please, if it's your reality, just type in the chat box. Yeah, yes it is, somehow, somewhat. No, it's not. We would like to read from the no, it's not. Let's hear from these people that they say no, it's not their reality. So this is the reality of many organizations, and they're still operating in it. And if any of this sounds familiar to you, stay with us. Ensure you don't sign out. Stay with us, because this is exactly where the shift had to begin from. Enoch says it's a reality. Thank you so much, Enoch, all the way from Rwanda. Thank you so much, Enoch. Yes, please stay with us. No matter what, don't leave. Even call other people to join, because this is where the shift begins. Deborah said, sadly, it is our reality. And Deborah is crying. Oh. This is where the shift begins. Now let's go to the second question. What? You have described how training showed up in your organization. Now, we would like to know, what was this costing you as a business? What was this reality costing the organization as a business? What was it costing the organization as a business? Let's start with Benedicta this time, please.
Yeah, actually a whole lot. Resources, a whole lot of the resources, a whole lot. Let me even say even the human resources, because you're bringing people, and then nothing is changing. It's costing us, of course, money. It's costing us, what are the opportunity costs? What are the other things that we could have been doing when we were in that training that was not going to yield any results? So it was actually costing a lot. Unfortunately, we were not even costing it. That's the thing. We were not costing it. So, but now that we know better, so the term, it was from you, I learned the term training scrap. So that was what it was. And, thank you.
Thank you so much, the SP Benedicta. So what I hear, and for those joining in, welcome. So this is our executives that have come to share with us on the change and the shift, because you need to have a change or a shift before you see impact in your training, before you see return on investment, return on expectation. And so they've come to share their experiences, which afterwards we'll ask them as many questions as we want to. So Benedicta, what I hear you say is, doing training as a tick box costed your organization so much, both as in human resources, costed both in financial resources, costing also both in things or opportunity cost, things that they would have done or where they should have been, they were in training, and so you lost resources from that. Thank you so much. Okay, let's get to Doris. Doris, what about you? So what did this reality cost your organization? Do you want to describe how training showed up in your organization? What was the cost it was to your organization? Training that was for just ticking box training.
Okay, thank you, Cassandra. So of course, financially it's cost us, because our university is a young university with fewer resources. So when it comes to financial resources, there are other things competing for it. So sponsoring a training section which will not bring any impact to the organization is costing it so much. So year in, year out, the only solution is to cut down training costs, because of course management also not seeing any impact. So financially it cost us. And as Benedicta said, the time we spend, the professor probably that will come and take us through this training, his time, when you cost all those things in terms of money, it's costing us a lot. It's something that we should spend to bring us benefits, but rather it is not. So it's really cost us. And most of these trainings results in training scrap, no impact. because we did not plan it intentionally, as we get to know as we continue our conversation. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Doris. So what I hear Doris saying is that as a result of this training that wasn't giving any impact, no returns, when it came to training budget, the university had to cut down on the training budget because they couldn't really see the impact of training. And so why continue training? Whoa.
Yes, of course.
Whoa, thank you so much. Let's hear from Amara. Amara, please.
Okay. It costs a whole lot. First, acrobatics. I have to learn to do acrobatics to make people happy. Unnecessary acrobatics, because for me, it was costing emotions. And in case we don't know, everything that is not Naira and Kobo. It was costing precious time. People will sit under you because they were asked to sit under you, not because any change was going to happen. And time is such a scarce resource. It was costing money, because we would rent a hall, we would cook, or rather cater to people's tummies, buy water, buy souvenirs, laptops sometimes, jotters, pens, all of those were money. Sometimes we also brought other facilitators. It costs. Now, that's on the part of the organization that we're giving the training. It also helped them to, appease people, because people who were disgruntled were sent for training, not for any particular reason. We propose training, they say, okay, they check who is in my good book, who do I want to appease, go for training. So that's what it cost the organization. For my organization that was also doing the training, believe me if I tell you this, I don't think I've mentioned it. Today, with what I know from Mastermind, if I were to charge for training by the time we are done with it, so if I were to charge, let's say, 1 million naira, and this is that's not the right figure. Before I would charge 100,000, because you just tell me, oh, Amara, we have this topic, come and do. I will just give you give me this, give me venue, I will come and do. Because it was not purpose driven. So I think now in hindsight, I'm saying it cost my organization more money because we settled for less. It affected our brand because our brand became a brand that can just do the rubbish. They want to mop up money, call them to do the rubbish. So how was our brand seen? Our brand wasn't seen with that premium eye. It wasn't seen like Brian that, okay, if you want returns on this, call them. No, we were seen as, I don't know the English word to describe it, and I'm hoping you're getting it. So it was costing us that. So we're shooting ourselves on the legs, right? Then it was costing us a lot of, what do I call it? Emotional topsy-turvy. Because every time you have to do training, you just know that these people are going to appraise you, appraise your acrobatics, appraise your appearance, do all those happy shit. So you go and spend some money looking good, making your hair. That was where your interest was, so that you can make those people give you nice ratings and all of that. It costs because all of those essential, all of those expenses are not as important. They were causing emotional upheavals here and there. Because when you are now doing the training, you're bent on making people happy, not bent on what they are going to get. I hope this is making sense, right? So it's cost to my organization because there were things we didn't need to do that we're doing. It cost us professionalism. It cost us ethics. Let me stop here, and I'm hoping that I'm making sense. It cost us. We haven't recovered from some of the costs that it cost us.
Thank you so much. I hope you're all learning and you're noting down the questions you want to ask them. You're noting down the questions you want to ask Benedicta, Doris, and Amara. You can, and I'm sure, hope you're relating. If you're relating to what they are saying, just write, I relate. if you're relating to what they're saying, just write I relate. It's what Deborah is going to win our gift. It seems it's only Deborah and Enoch that are participating. This is a conversation where you've come to learn. So if you're relating to what they are saying, because they are not say I relate to, Deborah say I relate to. Write it. Write say I relate. So what I hear you all saying is that there was so much cost to the organization and to the business, all because we had to do training to please people. We had to do training for people to be happy. I can see people writing I relate. Please keep writing it. So what when did you say, so I would round up this second question by saying that it came to a time whereby the cost, I can see, so I relate very well with what the executives are sharing with us. That is from Razak. Did you see what Razak wrote? He said he relates very well with what you're sharing with them. Okay, so let's move on to the next question. This was the reality, what it was costing your organization. Now, the next question is to the executive. There comes a time when doing nothing is no longer an option. When doing nothing is no longer an option. This question is to you, Doris. When did you realize that continuing with training the same way was no longer an option? When did you realize that continuing with training the normal way, which you told us when we started, when did you realize that it was no longer an option? Because at some point, the cost became too impossible. So I want you to take us to the moment when you say you decided that there was no longer an option, that you would not continue with it this way.
Okay, so thank you, Coach Sandra. I said earlier that it got to a point anytime the issue of budget cuts comes up, the one place they look at is the training budgets, because a lot of things, students, regions, academic issues are all competing for the same resources. So it's the training budget that is most of the time the go-to point. Then secondly, too, since the participants are not really, so with the mastermind class, I think I'll bring this one in here. At least the participants should be involved. When the training request comes, you find out from them if this is really what they wanted, or there are other issues that need to be looked at. The environment, tools, and others. So I realized that there came a time that there was some kind of apathy among participants, because when they come to the training, they don't really know what they are coming to do. They don't own it. Coming to the training became a problem. Even when someone is coming, someone is just looking for an escape from the office to come and enjoy. So there was this apathy. You call for training and people like, this training you are calling crowd, what benefits will it bring to me? Then I'll drop out and say, this thing, the name is that there should be a way out where these participants will be able to own the training. The moment they own it, the transfer will become more easier. Then also the line managers, because they don't see impacts when you call for training, they say, my people are busy. They cannot come for the training. Because when they finish their training, they don't really see any impact at the workplace. So allowing them to come for the training became an issue. Then I stumbled on the free webinar, the training transfer effectiveness. And that's where all the story has changed. And now when you come, you have to answer certain questions before the training requests will be delivered. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Executive Doris. Thank you so much. Okay, let's quickly go to Benedicta. Benedicta, this is your question. Were you ever under any pressure at any point in time? What was at risk if nothing changed? Were you under any pressure that you had to, the cost was unbearable and something had to change? What was the risk? Wait, over to you, Benedicta, please.
Yes. I think I was the first person to put the pressure on myself. It was my early years in L&D, I didn't start out as a professional in L&D. I'd gone far a lot in my career before I moved into L&D. So my first presentation to my management board, and I'm so happy with myself that this year we've done over 40 training and everything. And I said, okay, nice one. Okay, you've had these 40 different trainings for all across all the the organization. And okay, how can you show us how this has helped the business? And I was looking at I said, I've trained, we've done 40 training. Yeah. So I went back and I was like, hey, this is, I have to start asking myself, how can I prove beyond showing them number of training that all this money we have spent, and all this training that we have done, that something has changed, So that was when I now started thinking, what do I do? How do I go it? The other trainings I've been attending, I've attended trainings here and there. Nobody was talking about how I will show the impact. So in fact, sometimes they even think it's in the evaluations that you probably see the impact. So, but then I was not satisfied. I remember the first time I had this conversation with Cassandra, and I shared, and she said, oh yes, she's doing something. I said, whatever it is that you are doing, be fast with it, because this thing is troubling me. And then it came. And then while I was learning it and getting to know it and getting excited about it, the next one came from my CEO, asking me, that leadership training we did 2-3 years ago, please let me see the impact report. I said, madam, calm down. Now that I know what I know now, there are some things that we didn't do way back then, and we have to go back and correct it. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Magdita. So can you imagine? She came with her presentation to the board. We trained the whole staff of over 300 and something. We had over 40 to 100 training, and everyone happy, 5 over 5, they were hailing. And they said, okay, what's the impact to the business? And she was like, what do you mean? Which one is impact again? I said we trained over 300 staff and we had so many training. And that was, thank you so much, Executive Benedicta. Let's go back to Amara. Please, if you are relating with this, just say, I relate. Because they are telling you, they are being vulnerable, and they are sharing what they went through. They are sharing the challenges they went through. They are sharing the shifts that happened for them. Unless you are not in this part of this world, I'm sure that you can see what they are sharing. So type there, say, I relate. I relate, if you're relating with what they are saying. Let's go over to Executive Amara. Amara, please, over to you. Your question is, when did it become clear that delivering training the usual way was no longer responsible and effective, that it was no longer what you needed as a business? Wait, before you continue, someone said, Deborah said, when the acrobatic was getting out of hand. Deborah will not kill us in this class. Over to you.
It also shows that she's following. Some 3 years or 4 years ago, I was consulting for a school, and I was signed on for 2 years. After the 2 years, and I wanted to ask for renewal, the woman said, I'm sorry, ma'am, but we can't see any evidence, and I cannot continue to go to the board to defend why I'm signing up a consultant. What I was doing mainly that time was training. And of course, that's money leaving me, if you know what I mean. That's me losing a client. So that's me losing money. And I kept thinking of what to do. Of course, she can't see what I'm doing, because I come, talk, and go. The acrobatics, remember. And I kept wondering what to do. I remember I had the program Teach to Transform. That was what I called it. And I thought it was a case of, okay, do more role play, use more gamification, do all that until I met you. And then you started talking training transfer effectiveness. I said, is this not what I've been looking for? Is this not what I've been looking for? So that was when the more I listened to you, that was when I started realizing this is what I have been looking for, that made me pay attention to acrobatics, to speaking phonetically. You know, my English was impeccable. I paid attention to everything else because I thought those were the issues until I met you. And you started talking about tying it to business objectives. Until you started talking about engaging people to say, look, is training the solution? Because the problem you have might not have training as the solution. So I started saying, because I am the lead consultant in my organization, I'm the one who is looking inwards, because I'm the one who gathers people. Oh, we have a training. Come. You're doing module 2 on Wednesday. You're doing module 1 on Thursday. You know, and look, I'll pay you 20 naira. I'll pay you 30 naira. So I'm the one who gathers them. You guys should listen to me. Make your slide beautiful. You know, so that's when it started. When I met you, it started dawning on me. Oh, okay, we can do it differently. You know, so I hope this answered, because I don't want to jump the gun too much, because I want to believe that there's a whole lot more to talk about. But that's when it started dawning on me that, look, you haven't been doing it rightly. And, you know, in the course of this, that same lady that said she couldn't justify me remaining as a consultant, she called me while I was a student, while I was taking mastermind, and says, please, we need training, come and train us. And I said, what problem do you want to solve? I never asked this question. If you just call me, send me a message, training, bring proposal, before you say Jack Robinson, I've done it. So for the first time, I asked her, what problem do you want to solve? She sent me a message. She had to call. What do you mean by what problem do you want to solve? So let me pause here.
Whoa! Are you feeling the heat where you are? These executives are too much. Are you feeling the heat? The optimizer did not say how much, where can we go for training, where, which venue. She said, what problem do you want to solve? And the person that was telling her, we're not going to use you again, is not asking her, person had to call to ask her, what do you mean? They are dealing with a different person, the optimizer. Please, let's give it up for our executives. Okay, great. Well, we still have some few questions before we give time for the participant to ask. So the next question I want to ask is, because we all know that before you see impact, return on investment, return on expectation, something must happen first. You cannot just wake up one morning and you see impact out of your training, or you see return on investment and return on expectation. No, it doesn't happen. It is a process. Something must happen before that. It's just like someone that wants to reap oranges. If you do not plant the orange, the seed, if you do not tender it, you will not see any fruit. So the same thing now. So my dear executives, what shifted first? I want you to talk about what changed first. Let's leave the numbers. What changed first? And so this question is, let me go to Doris first. So what expectation around training became clearer for you than before? What expectation around training became clearer than before? Now, why I'm asking them this question is that something must have shifted first before you see impact, return on investment, and return on expectation. So we want to find out from them what shifted first for them before they saw results. So to Doris, what expectation around training became clearer than before when you went through the mastermind?
Okay, so first of all, the strategic alignment was the first thing that shifted for me. Because previously, and that was my first assignment when I joined the mastermind class. Before the request comes and you are looking for venue, all those things, all those preparations to organize the training, But when I joined the mastermind class, the first thing that we did was any training that comes should be aligned to an organizational objective. What objective is the training aligned to? That was the first thing that shifted for me. So that week, I came back to work, and the mastermind was such that when you go, there will be discussions. When you come back, you have to come and apply. Next week, when you go back, they will ask you, what application have you done within the week? So I came back. Then I received a request from one of our directorates. Then I carried the request, went to my director. And I said, oh, director, I received this request. He said, okay, so have you reviewed it? I said, yes. He said, what can you say about the request? I said, director, what strategic objective is this training aligned to? What is the directorate looking forward to achieve? He said, very well. That is very wonderful. That means that the training is working on you. So that was the very first thing that really shifted for me. That you don't just organize training in vacuum. You won't see results. You need to align it to a strategic objective. Otherwise, you won't see impact. Then another thing that was profound was validating the need to know whether the issue is actually training, non-training, or an integration of both. These two things are the fundamentals that shifted for me when I joined the mastermind class. So I have become a performance consultant. Any training that comes and you say, this is what we want to do, what are the issues? What performance issues are you trying to achieve? What strategic objective are you trying to address with this training? You have to answer these few questions before we proceed. Thank you very much.
They are in trouble. Thank you so much.
Let me add, Cassandra.
Yes.
Even though I find myself in a public organization, so it's not very smooth. But as I always say, I'm taking it one step at a time, because when it comes to the public sector, there's a very huge bureaucracy. This is how we do things. So it's a bit difficult, but I'm not giving up. One step at a time, we will achieve what we want to achieve. And the moment the impact is showing, I know my people would actually follow suit it, because you cannot be spending without getting impact. Thank you very much. So strategic alignment is very important.
Thank you so much, Doris. Thank you so much. I like that Doris is very vulnerable. She said, it's not been easy, but I'm not giving up. So all they are sharing with you, they are not telling you that it's easy, ABC or 1 + 1 is 2. No, they are telling you that they've made up their mind that they will do this and they will complete it, even though it's not easy. Thank you so much, Doris. Let's go to Benedicta. For you, Benedicta, what changed first in how training decisions were made? What changed first in how training decisions were made for you?
Yes, you know, Sandra, I recall when we first started, I was actually trying to change you first. And then we'd argue, and then because she says you have to do this, and then I'll say, hey, it's not possible, and then we'll keep going back and forth. So what changed first for me when I started, when the realization hits me, was that validation, the needs validation. That hey, and that was when we were talking about being an order taker. And that was when I realized that, hey, I have been an order taker all along. Sorry, guys, I don't work in Radisson Blu or Eco Hotels, but I've been an order taker as an L&D. So that was when I realized that, hey, all I just do is I ask the managers, okay, please, I even sent a template. Please populate for training needs for next year. We collect from, because I also manage performance in my organization. So I'm quite familiar with the strategic objectives. So we ask for everything, and then we collate and do all of that. And then we were not validating that this is actually what we need, that training is actually what is required for this business problem. So, and then again, the aspect of stop, the Coach Sandra used to call it the HR jargon. Stop speaking the language of the business. So those two things were the first things that popped at me, to start speaking the language of the business. Stop using HR jargon for them. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Benedicta. Stop. Who are those that can relate, that use HR jargons and L&D jargons? The training, we had 100 people. We had satisfaction rate of 80%. We had people that scored 90 over 100. How many people are the ones that have been using HR and L&D jargon? I hope you're going to change. Benedicta is telling you, start using the language of the business. Use the language of the business. Thank you so much, Benedicta. So let's quickly, don't worry, we're wrapping up soon. Let's quickly go to Amara, then take one questions, then we take questions from the audience. I see Nick says I will change. Please, I will read your messages very soon. Deborah says, use the language of the business. Yes, here you go. So for Amara, what were you no longer willing to continue doing with respect to training once things shifted for you? What were you no more willing to do? Deborah will say acrobatic.
Of course, I wasn't going to do acrobatics anymore and spend money on the things that are not as important. Well, what I was no longer going to do was giving training for people. But first, before then, I came to the realization that, look, training is not the solution to every organizational problem. I honestly thought before this that any problem, train them. In fact, I had a slogan: if you don't train them, don't blame them. I had that slogan: if you don't train them, don't blame them, so that you can keep training. Because somewhere in my head, every problem in an organization is training. So that shifted. I was no longer going to recommend training as the first, second, and only solution. I was no longer going to do that. So I'm hoping this answered you. I also was no longer going to say, receive calls, come and train, give me date, give me venue, give me time. I was no longer going to do that. I was also no longer willing to be the one supplying training topics to the organization without knowing their pain points, without knowing what problem they want to solve. Before, just tell me, I will do the proposal. I'll take communication for this, whatever. To get the topic is not a problem. Just ask Google or ask ChatGPT. So I was no longer willing to do that. To be honest with you, it was tiring. Because I didn't think I was solving a problem. It was really tiring. So I hope this answers. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I like that you said from the optimizer, if you don't train them, don't blame them. So we have the last question to the executives, then we'll open the floor for questions. So the last question to the executives, then we ask them let them now share their own experience. We give them like 1 minute or so to share their experience before we now ask questions. So the last question to the executives, we'll start with you, Amara. What kind of training request would you now challenge immediately? What kind of training request would you now challenge immediately?
We'll challenge training requests that are not linked to the business objectives. I will challenge training requests that came from top down, that the stakeholders, the people who were supposed to be part of the training were not consulted. I'll challenge it. I will challenge training programs that do not have measurable outcomes. How do we know this training has happened for people? How do we know that people learn something from this? What's the plan to sustain what was learned, assuming something is learned? I will challenge training programs that the intended outcomes don't have the verbs, the measurable verbs, to measure the outcome of that training. So I will challenge them. I also challenge training programs that we did not route through MVP, needs validation process. How did you come about this topic? How did you come about this problem and this solution? I will challenge training programs that your organization has not created an environment to sustain. I recall some time ago, we did implemented a training program on Excel. They came back and one of the people called me and said, look, my guy said that he doesn't know Excel. We should not submit reports to him using Excel. I said, but he sent the people for the training. He said, don't say he doesn't know how to use Excel. He didn't come for the training. And the training was, she cannot. And that was the end of that training that they paid money for. So I am no longer willing to do that kind of a thing, because I think now that training, that whatever it is that she learned, that she would have practiced, I'm sure if she doesn't practice for a month or two, she will forget everything. So everything is gone. So I'm no longer willing. I call all of that, you taught us training scrap. Now I'm also flipping it. I'm also not willing to have, what would I call now, another scrap from my end. No, I'm not willing.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Amara. So very quickly, let's go to Doris. What must be in place now before training is approved, before you approve any training? What would you want to see in place before you approve any training?
Okay. There should be strategic alignment. And the needs should be validated. The root cause should be looked at. There should be root cause analysis. Engage the training sponsor, the line manager, the earmark attendees to find out whether training is the solution, or is a non-training, or is the integration of both. Without this, I cannot proceed.
Wow.
If it were previously, I would have asked for venue, but without this, I cannot proceed. It may, I cannot proceed. Without needs validation process, I cannot approve the training request, and that's where we are moving to. The least, there should be needs validation. Otherwise, it will turn into a training scrap. Yes.
Thank you so much, Doris. Thank you so much. So quickly to you, Benedicta, your last question too. What training would you have approved before now that you will now decline? What training would you have approved before now, for the transformation you have now, that you will now decline?
I hadn't even finished the mastermind program when I started declining trainings. And there was this particular one where a state of emergency was declared. And then they ran to me and said, oh, please come and train them. I said, no, sir, please put it in my, because they said they needed to go, and because every week they need to give feedback to the management board, and they needed this training. They had said that it needs to be done. And I said, please, can you put my name there when you are giving your report, to say that I said I'm not going to do that training until we have validated that it is training that's going to solve this problem. And they were looking at me. I said, yes. I was talking to a senior person to me, actually, and I said, put my name down when you are making your report. Say I said that we're not going to run this training until we have validated that training is actually there. Because if not, how am I showing the impact of the mastermind that I was in currently? Because you were not giving us breathing space. Each week we had assignments to do. Each week we had to come back and say what we have done. Have we shared? Have we done this? Have we done that? We're going to do our projects. And so it was, for me, on the mastermind, it was immediate. It was immediate. So I'm saying to you, Debbie, okay, I've not posted it, where Debbie was saying, I'm still a long way in L&D. Debbie, no cries, no worries. You are in the right place. So it's just to get it right. And the most important things are the things that you yourself have been posting here as you're listening to us: the strategic alignment, the needs validation, and then the PDP. In fact, that is a whole lot. The PDP is the pre, the during, and the post. my dear L&D professionals, we need to, have a hold on this. The ecosystem. And all of this is what we all learned, all of us executives here, that we learned in the mastermind. These are things that probably you do, but we are not doing it in a structured way. So when we get a grip of what it is in the MVP, in the PDP, we are now more confident. I will always use that word. We are now more confident to be able to go out there and implement. So, and of course, most importantly, that is, of course, that's what we do during the pre. How do we embed transfer? When Amara is coming to do our acrobatics, well, how is she? Maybe she expected them to go back to and go and do the acrobats. So like, this is how we are embedding transfer inside the design of the training. So these are very, very important things. So that when they go back, they will be able to do this. Yes, we try to do them with role plays and all the other exercises, but there is actually a whole lot that goes into it. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, executives. You've heard it from the executives. Please, can we give the executives a round of applause? Please appreciate them in any way you want to. Give them the memes, give them the memes, the memes. Appreciate them. Thank you so much, the optimizer. Thank you so much, the SP. You've not told them what SP stands for. Thank you so much, the learning catalyst. Can you tell them what the SP stands for before we open the floor for questions?
Yes, so the SP is, I'm sure, it's something that they all know. That's a strategic partner. So really in HR, we claim to be, strategic partnering. Hello. I'm not sure we've been doing it right. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So now the floor is open. What are the questions you have for the executives? But as you're trying to get your questions ready, want to say a very big thank you. I'm going to still get last words from you, but let's have, do we have people that have questions? You can unmute your microphone or use your emoji and raise up your hand. What are the questions you have? Live questions. So what are the questions you have for the executives? So Deborah said, strategic partner, I'm going to link in to change my profile. Go ahead, Deborah, you're free, please. So are there questions? What are the questions you have for the executives? Let me just check. The dilemma is management wants to see training calendar booked, even when development goals or PDP are yet to be validated. Is there anybody that wants to help Harris with that? Harris says the dilemma is management wants to see training calendar booked, even when development goals or PDP are yet to be validated. I need you to also tell them what PDP is. I know you've said it, just say it again. But is there anybody that wants to help Harris to answer that question? Who wants to take? Any of you can answer the question for Harris, please.
All right, Harris, pre-phase, during and post-phase, right? So before you do your training, there is a pre, what you have to do before training happens. There is during, what you do or how you implement the training at the time you're doing it. And there is the post phase. After the training, you don't go to bed. And those are some of the things we learned in Mastermind. We may not be able to tell all of it now, here and now. I would recommend that you join the next cohort happening starting in February to be very beneficial to you. So the dilemma is a dilemma that all of us were in until my eyes got opened. So one of the things I'd encourage is, if you have access to management, share our webinar flyers with them, share the mastermind flyers with them, and just say, take a look, test this and see. Because if they don't have a buy-in, it's going to be difficult. There is something called, the ecosystem for training, and there are 6 important principles, or let me call them elements. And management is a critical part of those 6. Okay, maybe my co-executives will chip in some more, but certainly they need to have a buy-in.
Okay, thank you. Benedict, I wanted to say something. Deborah, I'm coming to you. Deborah says she has a question. You wanted to say something. So Harris is saying the dilemma is management. Management wants to see training calendar booked, even when development goals are yet to be validated?
Yeah, so the thing is that because we have not shown that we are strategic partners, so it's not about mechanical thing that, okay, just bring the trainings. The first thing is, have we defined of course, strategic objectives? The first thing, that's what we're looking at. And then perhaps there might not even be problems in achieving the strategic objectives. But then they might be, okay, development. Okay, you mentioned, maybe you said development goals there. There might even be for development. But then the thing again for us, HR, for us, L&D, is the level of confidence and contribution and value that we are bringing, that we are showing. We do bring value, but somehow we're never able to show them in measurable terms.
That's right.
And there was something that Sandra said during the program, talking about people analytics. How good is our people analytics? So if we're not able to show in measurable terms what we are doing, the impact, we're going to have problem telling management that, management, we need to validate before we do calendar. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Benny, and thank you so much, the Optimizer Amara. Just to add to that, we usually say little drops of water make an ocean. Start from somewhere. All this thing we've said, if you want to go into your organization to start doing it, you're going to set your organization on fire. They will finish you. The line managers will finish you. Management will finish you. Let's do what we call the low-hanging fruit. Start first with engagement. Start engaging the line manager, because these are the people you work with. Don't worry, that's a normal thing. Management, of course, they want to see the training calendar. Give them the training calendar. Now, as you've given them the training calendar, now start changing it small, so that next year, 2027, you will not just give them training calendar in 2026, November, December, as you're planning the calendar. You would have done something throughout this year, so that next year, as you're preparing for next year training calendar, it will not be the same thing. The story will change. I hope that helps you. Iris, tell us if our contribution has helped you. If it has not, please still let us know. So I see hands up, but let me hear from Deborah first. Deborah has a question, then I'll go to Nana, and I'll go to GB. GB is also a senior executive here. Thank you, GB, for joining us. So let's hear from Deborah. Deborah, you say you have a question. You want to unmute your microphone? Yes, please.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much. So my question is, I actually how do we go in fully into L&D? Because most of the vacancies I usually see, you are going to see from the minimum you're going to see is from 2 years experience upward, 3 years experience upward. And here right now, you're in an organization that is majorly more like a startup. So how do you navigate through this process? Even though I already have CIPM and I already have 3 years experience in HR, so how do I embrace this? Go into it fully whenever I see opportunities, because there is written specifically in the job vacancies 2 years experience, 3 years experience, 4 years experience, 5 years experience. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I think, Benedicta, that should be your question. This is strictly L&D. So she's saying, how does she move into L&D? If she wants to see, she's always seeing 2 years experience, 3 years experience, and she doesn't have that, if I got her correctly. So do you want to briefly answer that?
Okay, yeah, I didn't hear her at the beginning, but what are you doing currently? What part of HR are you in currently, Deborah?
I'm into recruitment, ma'am. Recruitment, onboarding and offboarding.
Okay.
More like a general.
Okay. So I don't know how your organization is structured, whether from time to time, but what I always encourage is to also see how you can get involved. If L&D, if you want to start a career in L&D or grow a career in L&D. So also be taking a peek at what's going on in the L&D space in your organization. So the thing is to, like what Sandra said, see, what we're all saying here, like Sandra said at the beginning, this conversation that we are having is a 6 months experience for us. So we don't expect you in one night to go back tomorrow, Friday, get to the office and say, boom, MVP, PDP. No, it doesn't work like that. So it's going to be baby steps. You start small. Start with engagements. Engaging your L&D. I don't know how much you know of what they do, how they run their show. Engaging them. And then encouraging them and you yourself to attend at least this free webinar. From there, you learn more about training transfer effectiveness. Did I help you a bit, Deborah? And of course, you need a mentor. If you don't have one, you need to get a mentor.
And also to volunteer. Thank you so much, Benedicta. And also volunteer. Volunteer in areas of L&D. That's how you learn. And put that in your CV. Volunteer. You can volunteer in L&D. Okay, thank you so much. Let's hear from Nana. Nana, you can please. I'm sure your hand is spinning. You've been raising up your hand, sis. Let's hear from Nana. Then we go to GB. Nana, please.
Hi, good evening, everybody. I think for me, I actually wanted to just talk about what Harris, I think it's Harris that wrote something about the training calendar that's expected by the management of his organization. And the question I would have asked is, when do you actually create your training calendar for the year? Because whatever time you actually create that training calendar, 2 months or 3 months ahead of that time, maybe you can start by doing a developmental needs assessment. You introduce it to your lines. I like the fact that you mentioned that he should engage the line managers. So it's in that process of engagement, he can actually start the process and talk to people, not just the line management, but actually have sessions where you're like, okay, can I speak to your people, even if it's on the open floor, for like 30 minutes or 20 minutes, to just let them understand that our system, we're trying to improve it and enhance it. And in doing that, I just want them to understand exactly what we're trying to do. So that engagement is like sort of you're introducing a new process into whatever it is that you're doing. So gradually you start ahead of time. And then once you've done that and you've done your developmental needs assessments for all your staff, and you guys use some serious HR acronyms, but once you've done all those things, then at least from there you can now extract what you need to put inside the training plan against next year. I think 2026 should already be ready. So you should be looking at how do we deal with 2027, and then we need to get ahead of time. We can't do it's not like we're putting out a fire at the last minute. If you're going to do your challenge sessions with your various lines to cross-check and check, okay, what does this person actually need? Because everybody in a particular department does not need the same training, because we're all individuals. So sometimes you find generic trainings, yes, probably, but maybe trainings that are more discipline specific or to enhance whatever they're doing, it might not necessarily be a generic thing. And you will actually need to understand what people actually need, where their gaps are, and then that's what you're now setting trainings to close those gaps. If it is a training that's required, if it's maybe cross-functional teamwork, you go and do that. If it is, lateral attachment to a group, short-term attachment, whatever it is, there's so many other things that we do beyond training. I was happy to hear that at least a lot of other people now know that. So I just wanted to chip in on that. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Nana. Thank you for your contribution. Thank you so much. Engagement is always important. That's the first thing we will always tell you. You must have engagement. Okay, GB.
Hi, everybody. Good evening.
Hi, GB.
Hi, my name is GB. I wake up every day to help people perform better at work and in life. I also wanted to contribute to the training calendar conversation. I'm seeing that it's something I've actively had to do in the last 4 to 5 years. And Nana has said quite a bit of what I would say, so I would not repeat what she has said. But I also want to bring a perspective that I think is very important. One of the reasons why training also struggle is because organizations by themselves do not have something, they don't have a definition of what good looks like per role. And so that usually puts our department, the learning talent development department, in shambles, because the time we are spending speaking to people and trying to figure out what they need, a simple system or document that shows what good looks like across every job role by level does 50% of that work.
That's it.
So if you know, for instance, someone is in back-end engineering and they're at a junior level, and this is what is expected of them, these are the 4, 5, 6 performance expectation that every associate at that level, at that role should do. It makes the conversation with the stakeholder easy, because now you're asking, they're expected to do this for the next 3 months. On a scale of 1 to 10, based on your observation, how well do they do it? It makes your conversation easy, because you just don't go there and ask them, what are you trying to achieve? If you work in an organization like mine that is, number one, fully remote, two, we're a fintech that is crazily fast-paced. We are currently number 2. I think we are the second fastest growing company. In a year, between last year and January and December, we had 1,000 more people join us. That kind of conversation cannot work, because goals are changing rapidly. They can tell you something in January. By December, a policy has forced them to switch. Right? So I think that perspective is needed first. The work is not, for transfer to happen, we need to first understand what good looks like. So the first work I think should happen is, if your organization does not have what we call, like, they call it different names, but I like to call it capability metrics. What's capability? The ability to do something. Skill metric. Skill is the ability to do something well. So if you have a simple document or a sheet that shows people, if you are at this level, these are the 5 things expected of you. That, I think, is the first thing we need to do. With that, you can now run effective training needs analysis. You can now do the conversations. Conversations are more exciting and easier because you're asking questions based on what is expected. And that's the first perspective. Another perspective I also want us to have is to understand that training comes in various formats. So there are trainings required by the law, mandatory trainings. There's no effectiveness in that. It's at best level 1 or level 2 if you're familiar with Kenfantric. There is high impact training. Those are the trainings that management wants, because those are the ones that drive business outcomes. Sales needs to hit a revenue goal of 100 million. You work with them in 6 months. You help them with 150 million. Those are high impact trainings. Then there are role specific trainings. These ones too are more tied to the development of the talents in the organization per role. Again, you might not get to level 4 or level 3. At best, what you will get is skill development, because you are developing their functional capability, right? And then, of course, there's onboarding training, which is primarily for new hires. So the second perspective you need to have is to figure out of these 4 trainings, which one the management really wants, the one that affects the business. I will build my house on that mountain. Every other, you see, those other 3 trainings can make up your training calendar that you can submit to them at the beginning of the year. Functional capabilities, you sit with every senior leader or every job family leader and figure out at each of this level, what should everybody be doing? What are resources that can help them? Loads the calendar with that. But you see, those high impact training is what management wants. That is the one you can begin to have conversations with. Okay, you have this goal for 6 months. How can we help? If you are speaking to engineers, you know that engineers will not take out time to come and learn. You are running a sprint, you need to build a feature in 7 months or in 6 months. And we put learning into each of those weeks so that every you show up 6 weeks, 5 days for talking. Maybe one of those 5 days, you have a 2-hour chat on something new that can help you do. The goal is figuring out how to help people, right? So those 2 perspectives I also want to share, so that
you don't so much.
Like Sandra said, you don't go into the organization as I joined my organization as the first hire, built the department. But it's not until, I was telling Sandra, it wasn't until Q4 last year that I had my first training that I could boast to management. This our strategy meeting that we'll do in March. Now I'll go there with my full chest and sit on the table, seats that they give me on the table, and say, we have the business here, but it took me 2 years to get there. Because you have to build the people, you have to build the team. So this is also a bit of encouragement to not beat yourself up if you're not getting it yet. And like Nana said, just get a mentor. All these executives can be your mentor. Go and meet them. Go and meet them in their LinkedIn and ask them to mentor you, right? But yeah, I wanted to share those two key perspectives and the encouragement. Yeah.
Thank you so much, GB. Thank you so much, GB. Thank you. You see that, at least you see what Nana said, you see what GB has said, little drops of water make an ocean. GB said it was just last year that Nana is going for a quarterly meeting in March. He's going to beat his chest. As he has a seat at the table. Now, you know some of you don't have a seat at the table. If you sit down, they will break the chair as HR and L&D. But now he has a seat at the table because he has helped the business. L&D has helped the business. So cool down, it's small. All those webinars, join it. GB is talking. Go and meet GB. Let him be your mentor too. There's Amara is here. Doris is here. Benedicta is here. Go to their LinkedIn now. Nana is here. Enoch is even here. These are senior people that are here. If you don't know the senior people here, that means you're losing. No? Enoch is here. He's a senior person. Nana is here. GB is here. Titi is here too. Titi is a senior person. So look for all these people. These not small people that are here. These are senior people here. Go and meet them. Tell them I want you to. If you're a senior HR person or L&D person, I did not mention your name. I'm so sorry. Those I mentioned are people I know. Nana, I don't know her, but from how she spoke, I just knew that this one is senior HR or L&D person because she spoke with depth. So I'm so sorry if you're a senior HR person or L&D and I did not recognize you. Please apologies. I recognize those who I know and I know their worth. Thank you. So before we are running out of time, please. We are taking just one question and we will not be able to take your questions. We've already we are running out of time. I see Razak. Razak said, some organizations don't see training their employees as an investment, but they sometimes see it as a cost. How do we navigate this dilemma? I'm sure this has been answered, right? Somehow it has been answered. Razak, please let me know if it has been answered. From all the things they've been saying, I'm sure you've heard it's been answered. Who else said? That's when you need to brush up. Okay, no question. Okay, so let's hear you. Adeyemi Ajayi, please, just briefly. Let's hear you, please. Then we would wrap up.
Miss Sandra and everyone.
Good evening.
I know Sandra is wondering after I'm here. All right, this is Adeyemi Ajayi. All right.
This is a guy in HR. Yeah, welcome. I'm so happy to see you. Welcome. So meet Yemi too. Meet him to mentor you. He's a senior HR leader in the HR space too. Yemi, please, over to you.
So, just to quickly add that again, even where you don't have budget, even when you don't really have the focus of management in terms of what people need to do, you can build a development plan into every employee's performance management process, such that you are leading people even to be responsible for their own development and own learning goals. And of course, organizations now, rather than focusing on spending much money, having bespoke training, you can enroll for Coursera learning, for Udemy learning level, so that people can access those things at their own time. Even for engineers on the field, for IT experts on the field, they can access it at the time. What you only need to do is that you build it as part of their performance goal for the year. So learning becomes something that is got part of them, and they can take it in bits and it's not necessarily brick and mortar. On the go, they are learning, and of course, it is contribute to their personal effectiveness. Just to add that perspective, that it is not only about big things, sitting in the classroom, sitting down to plan learning, but you can get on the chart videos that can be on YouTube. You can assign it to people and give them the timeline every 30 days, every 50 days. They need to make sure that they signed it, they have completed it, and then they show this of completion and use that to help them to develop, across various times. Thank you very much, Sandra.
Thank you so much, Yemi. Thank you so much. And so we before we close the curtain, please, last word from you executives. Let's start with Executive Doris. Last words from you. Want to say a very big thank you. Last words from you.
Okay. Thank you very much, Cassandra. I have a wonderful time this evening, still in the office, but I'm grateful for this in-depth conversation. And I want to acknowledge one of my colleagues who is also on the call, Enyunam. She joined since. So we are in the office together. Wow. So she's also in her office. Thank you for coming, Enyunam. So Mastermind program has been one that has been transformative. And the terms training transfer, training effectiveness, and training transfer effectiveness are things that have shifted my mind about training. And I view training and I view myself as a performance consultant, not just as an L&D. Because the moment you come with your training request, I'm probing, the people, they don't communicate better. I'll ask you for that question. What do you mean by they don't communicate better? Is it that they don't do it on time? Is it that they delay? What do you mean? So these are things that have changed in my line of duty, and I am very grateful. I'm recommending Mastermind class for every HR and L&D person. Please enroll, and you will become a strategic partner, and that's where we are going to. Training transfer effectiveness. High impact trainings should not lead to training scrap. When management invests money in training, they should see the impact. And the jargons we are mentioning, please enroll and understand it more. The needs validation process, the PDP, please just join and join the train so that we'll become more and more, and we'll get more TT champions in Africa and the world, so that our seat at the table, as GB shared, will always be ours. When we sit on it, we'll sit with our full chest and with confidence. Thank you very much for being here. I'm glad you have been here to listen to us. Join the Mastermind program and you will never remain the same in your professional field. Thank you so much, Cassandra. And thank you, cherished participants, for being here. I'm grateful.
Thank you so much, the learning catalyst. Thank you so much, Doris. Over to you, the strategic partner, Benedicta. Your last words, please.
Yes, thank you everyone for your fantastic contributions. And honestly, one can't stop learning. We've also learned from the other participants on the program, and like what Doris said, it's we can have high impact programs, training, and then they turn into training scrap. So all of this, all of the ROI, all of the Mastermind program is telling us about how do we make sure that those high impact trainings don't turn into training scrap, that nothing happens. We aim them to be high impact, but then it's not even impacting. The data gathering, the baseline data, because a lot of times we don't have that data to show the before, the during, the now, the current, and then when we run this training, what does success look like? Just like what SB said, it's so difficult for us to sit down to define exactly what this role, these are the things that this role should be doing in measurable terms. You know, I hadn't really heard about the ROE until I joined the Mastermind. It's the ROI that we all talk about. ROI on trading, ROI on investment. But then joining the Mastermind, I was exposed to ROE, and that is return on expectation. How do we calculate return on expectation? Doris posted on the chat, PCBs, the performance critical behaviors. How do we define these behaviors in quantifiable terms so that we can measure them? Like she rightly said, they don't communicate. I'm sure we're very familiar with this. oh, they don't know how to communicate. They don't communicate well. What do we mean? What do you mean by they don't communicate well? Communication is broad, so we have to really address what exactly is the problem with communication. So we just don't say here, oh, they don't communicate well, and then we go look for Amara. Amara, come and teach us, come and train us on communication. So we have to really get down to what exactly is the root cause, what exactly is the problem. We have to do the root cause analysis. So I mean, Mastermind made me like I'm feeling like a medical doctor right now, because we have to do the diagnosis. Yes, we have to do diagnosis on Mastermind. So it's a whole lot. I want to encourage you, especially if you're an L&D. I want to encourage you to at least start. If you can't, get on the next cohort right now. There's a free webinar. In fact, the first time because I wasn't attending that free webinar, of course I got to know about Mastermind. Like I said before, I've been having conversations with Sandra, and then of course when she wanted to run it, and she said iTech November. I said iTech, Sandra, I have a problem. I can't, and this was in 2024 that we were having this conversation, and I said I'll have to long 2025 November long. She now said, Bene, okay, don't worry, I'll see what. In fact, we're even planning something for just my organization before she came up with the Mastermind, and immediately I enrolled because I've been waiting for this. And when the first time I joined the free webinar, the Thursday free webinar, and I came back on Tuesday because we were running Mastermind on Tuesdays. I came back and told the executives that see what we are paying for. Sandra is running it free of show. So the one day after we run Tuesday, and she said, no, Bene, I'm not giving them the full thing. We're just talking about, and of course, so if you stay on the weekly free one, you will really realize that it's not just about us marketing a product here. It's about a movement, a need for change for us in L&D, a need to make this change. And the thing is, just only very few people. Like she said, she's the Sandra, what do you say? You are the lone voice in the wilderness.
Yes, Africa's leading voice on training transfer effectiveness.
Yes, she's the African leading. How many voices do we have in Africa now? You are the only voice. Abi, Sandra, I'm not. So now you see this. The
only known voice. The others, I'm sure, we've been having conversation with GB. GB is trying to come in, So yes. But when it comes to training transfer effectiveness, I'm the only person talking about it. I brought it up. So there's nobody talking about training transfer effectiveness in Africa, and I can hit my chest like GB to say there's nobody talking about it. So I'm the lone voice in TTA.
So when do we want to wait till when our CEOs start to ask us to show impact, start to ask us to show return on expectation? Because one day they might stumble on Sandra, and Sandra is educating them, and then they'll come back to you and say, come on, they said there's one thing they call ROE. How come you have not been showing us ROE? How come you have not been showing us impact? How come you have not been calculating the ROI? So I encourage you as an L&D, please stay on this movement. The next conference is going to happen this year. Stay on this movement and take your baby step one after the other. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Benedicta, the strategic partner. Let's hear from the optimizer, and we'll call it a day. Optimizer, over to you.
The Oracle, thank you so much for this great opportunity. Let me recognize my very good friend Nana. I heard your voice and you said I should remind you of this program. I totally forgot. Thank God you made it. And my dear colleague Ijoma, I see you, and I'm hoping that you're learning something. Okay, there is a difference between training transfer effectiveness, training transfer effectiveness.
Yes.
One is short term, one is medium term, one is long term.
Yes.
And if you want to avoid training scrap, the waste of limited or scarce resources, which we were taught in our basic economics, you need to be thinking about training transfer effectiveness.
What's that?
The TTE has an operating system. The MVP needs validation process. The PDP and the sustainability framework. It's a process. We might not sit here and finish it. We can't. We won't even finish talking about it in 1 year, not in one conference, but it's a step in the right direction. There is something called impact. Every training you carry out should be impactful. There is something called return on investment. It talks, it is numbers, digits, figures, which is at the end of the day, bottom line for every business. And there is something called return on expectation. There are behaviors people who have been trained have to have because they need to cover performance gaps, which in the first place is the reason they have gone for training. Training must be connected to business objectives. We don't train for fun. So the whole entirety of training, it's an encyclopedia. It's something we all have to calm down, learn about it, and see how directly it impacts what we do on a daily basis in our various organizations. I'm looking forward to hearing more voices in this advocacy. I can tell you I came from the classroom, and I say it again, from the primary school, secondary school kind of classroom. And because I'm in HR and I do a lot of recruitment, you can see the gap. The gap is so wide, and people have taken that same behavior when you send them for professional development programs and personal development programs. They bring in the same mindset. The trainer has the same mindset with the trainee. Therefore, the business gap, which training was meant to cover, still remains uncovered. The gap is still there. So let's join our voices, and together I'm very certain that if we're consistent with this gospel, forgive me for calling it gospel, but that's what it is now. Gospel is good news. We will make the necessary changes that our nation deserves. Thank you everyone for being here. It's been a pleasure having this conversation with us. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Executive. So let me take the announcements and we will close. But before then, I want to take the announcement and thank the executives very well. So this is the mastermind. The second cohort is starting in February, middle of February. So if you are interested to join this mastermind and become an advocate and become transformed and learn more, just like the executives you just see on here, please reach out to us. Our email is there. And I don't want to talk about this because of time. So then the next thing I just wanted to share is our conference. The iTech conference is the International Training Transfer Effectiveness Conference. It's coming up November 12th and 13th this year in Lagos, Nigeria, at the Lagos Oriental Hotel. And our theme for this year is technology, practice, and impact. So we're going to be having mini workshops of all the things we've spoken about. So you're going to come with your problems and we are solving it. And so do not miss this. Do not miss this. Let's have more voices, just like Amara, the optimizer, said. We have just few voices. Let's have more voices. This is a movement. It's called the Training Transfer Effectiveness Movement. Please join the movement. And we've done questions already. And the last thing I want to ask, what is your next line of action? What is your next line of action? After all those things you've heard from the executives and even from those that had contributed, what is your next line of action? We are having this webinar every Thursday. So this year we're going to be bringing more L&D people to come to share with you. To even from what Deborah said, I think we may also think about not just the training transfer effectiveness, also how can L&D groom themselves. So we'll think about it, my team and I, and see, can we bring in those things to also groom L&D? Are there other areas? Because what we've been focusing on is on training transfer effectiveness. So we may think about that. So what's your next line of action? What one practical thing would you do from now until we meet next week? So you share your experience with us when you come in next week, Thursday. And in conclusion, we always say, old ways won't open new doors. Take note of that. Can never. old ways won't open new doors. New ways will be able to open new doors. And every impact-driven training starts with a bold conversation. You heard Nana say it. You heard GB say it. You heard Yemi say it. You heard the executives, the optimizer, the learning catalyst, and the strategic partner say it. Every impact-driven training starts with a bold conversation. And on this note, I just want to say, before return on investment and return on expectation can be calculated, the conditions for transfer must exist. There must be a condition for transfer. And I want to say a very big thank you to everyone. So finally, be happy and feel good about yourself always. That's my contact. That's my email address. That's our company email address. Just add www to that, www.mbrandconsultinggroup.com. Send us an email. So let me stop sharing and thank the executives. On this note, I want to say a very big thank you, dear executives. We have the learning catalyst, we have the optimizer, we have the strategic partner. We say thank you so much for your time. Thank you for honoring us. Thank you for coming. We sincerely appreciate you. Yeah, we can hear you, parents, baby. We can hear you. So thank you so much. And on this note, we want to sign out and we say good night, everyone. Same time next week, Thursday. Executive, please, can you say thank you or good night to everyone, please?
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you. So I'm going to stop the recording in case you have more questions. The executives will wait behind. So let's stop the recording. They'll wait behind in case you have questions you need to ask.